Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudírayat. Shrinvatam Sukata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yubadrani Virnoti Surit Satam Nashtprayashvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagati Nashtaki. So today, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, and it looks like text 48 and 49. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Daksha Kavir Yagyam Bhadra Rudra Bimarshitam Kirtyamane Rishikeshe Sanninye Yagya Bhavane. Translation: Sri Maitreya said, after Lord Vishnu was glorified by all present, Daksha, his consciousness purified, arranged to begin again the yajna which had been devastated by the followers of Lord Shiva. Text 49. Bhagavan Swena Bhagena Sarvatma Sarvabhagabhuk Daksham Babhashad Abhashya Priyamana Ivanagha. Maitreya continued, my dear sinless Vidura, Lord Vishnu is actually the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Yet, because of his being the supersoul of all living entities, he was satisfied simply with his share of the sacrificial offerings. He therefore addressed Daksha in a pleasing attitude. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, it is said, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. Lord Vishnu or Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all the results of sacrifices, austerities, and penances. In whatever one may engage, the ultimate goal is Vishnu. If a person does not know that, he is misled. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu has nothing to demand from anyone. He is self-satisfied, self-sufficient, but he accepts the offerings of yajna because of his friendly attitude toward all living entities. When his share of the sacrificial results was offered to him, he appeared very pleased. It is said in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. If any devotee offers him even a small leaf, or a flower, or water, if it is offered with love and affection, the Lord accepts it and is pleased. Although he is self-sufficient and does not need anything from anyone, he accepts such offerings because, as Supersoul, he has such a friendly attitude toward all living entities. Another point here is that he does not encroach upon another's share. In the yajna, there is a share for the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, and a share for Lord Vishnu. He is satisfied with his own share and does not encroach upon others. Indirectly, he indicated that he was not satisfied with Daksha's trying to deny Lord Shiva his share. Maitreya addressed Vidura as sinless because Vidura was a pure Vaishnava and never committed any offense to any demigod. Although Vaishnavas accept Lord Vishnu as the supreme, they are not prone to offend demigods. They give the demigods proper respect. Vaishnavas accept Lord Shiva as the best Vaishnava. For a Vaishnava, there is no possibility of offending any demigods, and the demigods are also pleased with the Vaishnava because they are faultless devotees of Lord Vishnu. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhishya Kripasindhubheva Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's Prabhupada writes such an interesting line actually in this purport. Give me a moment to find it again. He wrote he wrote that oops. He was writing about how Lord Vishnu is satisfied with his own share and does not encroach upon others. Yeah, Prabhupada writes another point here is that he, meaning Krishna, Vishnu, does not encroach upon another's share. And by this, he indicates that he was not satisfied with Daksha denying Lord Shiva his share. It's very interesting. The contrast between Vishnu and this when Daksha in this whole pastime of you can remember to the beginning how Daksha became unsatisfied with Lord Shiva for not standing up, and just by standing up, which was an expression of respect towards Daksha, Daksha got insulted. So it's interesting because Daksha, as a conditioned living entity, conditioned jiva, uh, felt the need. The ego felt the need to be respected, even beyond his share, because Lord Shiva is in a superior position ontologically. Socially, he was, Daksha was his father-in-law, but ontologically, Lord Shiva is in a he's the one getting offered shares of sacrifices, not Daksha. So, in one sense, Daksha had a need or felt this need egotistically to get respect even more than his share. Whereas Lord Vishnu, here in this example, he actually doesn't need anything. He's actually Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. He's actually the enjoyer of everything. He's the one who is supposed to be offered everything ontologically. And yet he is satisfied with just his share of the sacrifice. I thought this was a very nice juxtaposed um, image of Lord Vishnu versus Daksha and their different behaviors. How Lord Vishnu is exemplary and setting an example here. Actually, even despite his ontological position, he is showing his satisfaction with his own share. So that was one point Prabhupada made, because uh, well, you can go in depth with that quite a bit. How the material ego has all these false necessities in life. We have a conditioned jiva will um, manufacture so many different false necessities of uh, wanting to get respect and wanting to enjoy this and wanting to have that, and it's actually all beyond not always, but most of the time it's beyond our quota. We're, we're recommended in Shastra to become satisfied with our quota. There's a verse in the Ishopanishad, which I haven't said verbally in a long time. Oh yeah. Oh, Ishavasramidam Sarvam. This verse. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat tenatyaktena bunjita magrida kashisvardhana. And then the next verse saying how if one lives like that, one could live that way for a full lifetime, a full 100 years, and not be entangled by karma. And what is that way? What is that verse saying? I'll just read the translation of Ishavasramidam Sarvam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So it's exactly a beautiful remembrance of this verse in in the pastime that we're seeing today, the verses from the Bhagavatam, how Vishnu was actually showing how he was satisfied with his quota, even though he is actually this person, he is the Isha, he is the controller and owner of everything. Everything is his, but for administration of the universe and that um, as being also the guna avatar of Sattva Gun and administrative demigod, he's just accepting his portion. So showing the example to the others of how they should accept their quota only and be satisfied with that. So again, contrasted with Daksha throughout this pastime, it was not so. He became he became envious of Lord Shiva and not just jealous but envious, hateful, and wanted to restrict Lord Shiva and denigrate him to something of a lower nature. And so that's one point. Now, another interesting point in this today's two shlokas here was this word verse. Prabhupada says Eva brings some awareness to this word in the Sanskrit. Priyamana Eva. So Priyamana meaning Vishnu was acting friendly and affectionate and satisfied, as if he was feeling that way from Daksha's behavior. Now, Daksha at this point had already kind of gone through a little bit of a transformation. He kind of got some good sense knocked into him by Virabhadra, this entity that Lord Shiva manifested, cut off his head and whatnot. So Daksha was feeling very humble, humiliated. Humiliation makes one humble. So he felt a little humble and was doing things properly at this point. He was offering Lord Shiva's share and offering them Vishnu, and it appeared Lord Vishnu was satisfied with his share. That's kind of the previous point. What Prabhupada also brings up, it's the same point that our previous acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami, they also bring up the same point, that Vishnu was not satisfied with Daksha. It was like he acted like he was satisfied for this example of showing about one should be satisfied with their quota, but he was not really satisfied with Daksha's behavior of offending Lord Shiva the way he did. And I think this is an important point for all all of us who are aspiring to be Vaishnavas, because we are instructed in Shastra and instructed by sadhus and gurus that um, we ought to respect uh, everyone, actually. In this verse, Prabhupada's making the mention of Vaishnavas respect the demigods. That just because the demigods are not Vishnu himself, Vaishnavas still respect the demigods. Actually, he makes the point that Vaishnavas respect everyone. So what to speak of the demigods who are Vishnu's servants? They're in higher posts. What to speak of devotees who are Vaishnavas? Vaishnavas respecting Vaishnavas. So this is a very, very good point. There's a nice section. There's many, many nice sections, but one specific section which I was reminded of when I read this was in the 11th canto, chapter 29. This is kind of the penultimate chapter of the Uddhava Gita, Uddhava's section, when Krishna is speaking to Uddhava in the Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. The culmination of the whole thing, there's many, many beautiful verses, many, many beautiful sections. But this penultimate chapter, 29th chapter, is specifically about Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna gives instructions to Uddhava, and one of the main instructions is verse 12 of that chapter. I'll read it. Mam eva sarvabhuteshu bahir antar apavritam ikshet tatmani chatmanam yatha kam amalashaya. With a pure heart one should see me, the Supreme Soul, within all beings, and also within oneself. To be both unblemished by anything material and also present everywhere, both externally and internally, just like the omnipresent sky. So the commentators actually make the point in that purport, in that commentary, that this is kind of more of a Gyan related topic, seeing Paramatma in the heart of everyone. It's bhakti has to do with hearing and chanting and about Krishna and his devotees and his pastimes and glorifying that, and just developing the vision of seeing Krishna everywhere is more Gyan related. This is actually one of the main points there. However, Srila Jiva Goswami makes the point that the reason why this is in this Bhakti Yoga chapter is because the devotee is being instructed not to see Paramatma, but to actually see their Ishtadev. So for some, that might be Krishna, in the Hare Krishna movement, you could say. So it's not just to see Paramatma in the heart of everyone who's sitting there neutral. It's to see Sri Krishna, your own personal Ishtadev, in everyone. So that is pure bhakti, not so much related to Gyan. So that's the difference, making it more of a Gyan process versus a bhakti process, is seeing it's actually your Ishtadev. And I just wanted to say one of the cool verses here. So 2 verses away from that, he says that for him who constantly meditates upon my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, and abusiveness, along with false ego, are very quickly destroyed. Rivalry, enviousness, and abusiveness, and false ego are quickly destroyed. It's hard to it's easy. Let me say it like this: it's easy to see Krishna in the deity form because he's standing right there. That's the benefit of deity worship. That is the mercy of the Archa Vigraha. In fact, is that it makes it easy for us to serve and see with our senses Krishna, who is adhoksaja, beyond the senses. But it's a little harder for us to see Krishna in other circumstances of our life. It's harder to see Krishna in the heart of other people who are not friendly to us, who are not kind to us, who are they themselves are envious towards us, trying to hurt us in some way, or we just don't get along. Maybe it's like kind of petty. We just don't like them, so we don't really see them. We don't see them like that. So there's another verse in the 11th canto which I don't have memorized and I won't look up because I don't remember where it is. It's in the first Nava chapters. But it's saying about how a prakrita devotee, a materialistic devotee, the neophyte devotee, showing the Majjhima, the Uttama, and the Prakrita, the materialistic devotee. The materialistic devotee is qualified by only seeing Krishna in the deities and not in other devotees, not in other jivas. What to speak of the demigods also, but what to speak of devotees. So that's kind of the lowest rung of devotion, and we are called in our quest for advancement to higher levels of realization, higher rungs of advancement towards love of God. It's actually to develop the vision that this person who's envious of me, this is Krishna. This is Krishna coming to me in this form. This circumstance, which is distressful and I don't like, it's coming to me as Krishna. The two ultimate things, well, one of the ultimate things that we are scared of is death, right? Birth, death, old age, disease. So death comes, mrityu, 10th chapter Gita, Krishna says, mrityu aham. I don't remember it. But he says, I'm death, actually. So Prabhupada also would say, like, when he was in, I think he was in, I don't remember where he was at, but there was potentially bombs dropping in India. I don't know how past I'm from the Leela but Prabhupada said that if he didn't want to leave his home, everyone was leaving because potential bombs, and he thought if a bomb comes from the sky, he will think Krishna is coming to me. So it's not enough. We have to move past that dualistic vision of Krishna's there and everything else is something else. That's the whole problem. Bhayam tutya binibesha tasyat. Bhayam, this fear arises when you see that there's two things. When you see that Krishna, who is actually the controller and owner and enjoyer of everything, he doesn't control, own, or enjoy this thing. This is separate. Therefore, we hate that. We fear it. The devil. This is a very Western mentality, and it's not supported by the Bhagavatam philosophy at all. It's not reality. There's only Krishna coming through many ways, and we should pray to have this vision so that we can properly respect Krishna in his various manifestations, which one of them as a Tatastha Shakti, Vibhinamsha, these are called separated expansions. The jivas are Vibhinamsha, parts of Krishna. So there's such thing called Jiva Aparad. And again, this whole verse was about the demigods, but I'm just expanding it to include all jivas. And again, what to speak of devotees. So I'll conclude there. Just wanted to wrap that up and make that point clear about how it's the deity might look satisfied with our service, but unless we're actually serving that same deity who's manifesting in the hearts of everyone, and especially manifesting in the hearts of devotees, if we're serving that deity with one hand and hitting that deity with the other hand through our behavior, words, actions, etc., then he'll only look pleased. Priyamana Eva. And we want Krishna to actually be pleased with us. So that's our prayer and that's our hope. And on there, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.